I don't even know how to express the gratitude that I have in my heart, because I've been having a lot of anxiety and fear around people. That's weird, isn't it? I'm a behavior analyst. But today, I've never been so inspired where, like, I'm getting these freaking goosebumps constantly when I'm hearing the stories of what you guys have accomplished and the sheer number of hundreds and hundreds of learners that you've helped across California and Maine, leadership down in Florida now, Pennsylvania growth, New Jersey, now international through remote consultation. I just literally have goosebumps thinking about it. The sheer number of people that you've helped, you're the reason that we got through this. You are the pros, the cohibas, second to none, noli secundus, and I just want to express my gratitude. That's the first thing. I didn't want to stack an agenda together where you ended up having a million meetings. You're here for a couple reasons. One of them is to unwind, rejuvenate, enjoy yourself, and reboot. Just reboot, take a deep breath, and enjoy friggin' life. Okay? Raise your hand if you want to enjoy life. All right, everyone's alive. The reason that you all got us through this pandemic, and we're still going, and we're in massive expansion mode, and you made it through the hardest time, is because of your relationships. It's not the amount of money you earn. It's not the number of passions that you have. It's literally your relationships across each other that have gotten us through this far. We are in the process of forming what I would like to call, I know it sounds crazy, but a new world order. Because of everything that you guys have accomplished, you're changing the game throughout the world. Literally changing the game. This sort of thing is like every 100 years or so. Like every century or so, there's a perfect storm, what I always call like a black swan event. It's really not anything new, but it happens like every century or so. Trust me, I'm f***ing old. I feel it. And what I'm saying is that you have a worldwide pandemic. My daughter hates when I say that, but I say it all the time. She's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, it's a worldwide pandemic. Number one, you have a worldwide pandemic. Number two, you have civil unrest to a degree where the country has been torn in many pieces. And then the third, you have like a rising power, which is China and a whole nother nation. There are three big things happening all at once, but you guys are all sticking together and thriving. To me, it's just freaking amazing. And the reason I say it's a new world order is because it's events like this every 100 or so years that change the whole game for everyone. It's moments like this that you change the world, and you're doing it right now. The expansion is crazy, and I want you to realize that the decisions made today impact the world, not just one state, not just one person, not just one learner. And I can't express how much gratitude I have for that. The idea that during the craziest time right now, one of the craziest times in 100 or so years, You guys are like leaning into your fears. And it's just admirable, respectable, it's incredible. It literally is heroic what you've been doing. You're leaning into things. You're leaning into unpleasant circumstances. You're leaning into undesirable situations. You're running towards it. And what I want to do is let you know that my goal is to be that guardian that helps you continue to do this. Because it's so exciting, and it brings me so much joy to see the number of kids that you're helping and the number of jobs you're creating during this historic event in time. So I want you to know that every single person in this room, and I hope that this is something that you continue to do, which I know you already are, I hope that you will make sure that you have everyone's back. Because I have yours. Which brings me to my next point. You guys have been able to lean into your fears and accomplish these things because you're pushing the envelope like crazy. There isn't any sort of handbook out there that how do you handle something that happens every 100 years and help kids that are very severely in need in families. You're saving lives. There are families, I know this for a fact, that they may have not been in existence any longer due to suicide, homicide, domestic violence. You're saving the world. It's incredible. I want you to realize that every single person in this room, I need to know that if for any reason I'm not living the values that we established 16 and a half years ago, which are your families first, your passion, and the unlimited resources. Those three things. That'll never, ever, ever change. Ever. I don't care. I don't care what goes on. They're the three things that we've stood for in the beginning. And what's the one thing, who can tell me, what's the one thing that ties all three of those values together? There's one thing that makes them all work. Positive reinforcement and the science. You guys have a technology that you're successfully applying every single day, whether you know it or don't know it, through leadership. It's incredible. While you're pushing the envelope, guys, as you're taking risks and you're helping people, doing things that are heroic that no one will do. I heard stories today up in Maine where people are going out when the day March 22nd or something like that, when no one would go anywhere, there were people going out serving learners in the community. It almost made me want to cry. It was so inspiring. It saved some families' lives, I believe. When it comes to the rules and stuff like that, like I said, there is no handbook. So I want you to continue doing this. Do this one thing. Use your individual family values, your passion, your highest expression of yourself, which you're doing each day, and then the unlimited resources that BDA will provide for you to continue doing what you're doing. Because as you continue, and part of today is going to be in the breakout discussing what your passion is. Like what moves you every day? What moves you? Like when you get up every morning and you're crushing it, what is it that is inspiring to you? Because we're going to just keep bringing it out. That's the goal. Your passion, your passion and your highest expression of what you're good at, I am 100% convinced, especially to people in this room, you are better at one thing than anyone else. Everyone here, you're better at one thing than anyone else. And the goal of this with building relationships is for you to just keep bringing that out and continue. Because every time you're inspired, it brings happiness. When you have happiness, you go home to your family and they're happy. It just spreads. It just spreads. Now, when there is no rule book on how to operate in the pandemic, when there is no guidance other than the science and the three values that we're living by, it's hectic So you can only do this one thing that I want to urge you to do that's not necessarily backed in behavior analysis. It's what's gotten me through things. It's today. I want you to think of the one thing that you know is so inspiring, that is your highest expression of your talent, whether it's serving learners, whether it's coaching employees, whether it's training people, whether it's a remote consultation, whether it's your child. I want you to find that one thing today. And when we break outside, enjoy the sunshine, I want us to go around and discuss that. And when you find that one thing, here's what I really want you to do right now. Can you get that in your head right now, the one thing that's your biggest passion? And the way you're going to accomplish that further is by the visualization of it. This is what I mean, where it's not necessarily backed in science yet, but it will be. I want you to think of the thing that you love the most, that inspires you the most. For me, it's my family and seeing you guys like grow. I can't even it really gives me chills. I was saying this today, when I see each person fulfilling their mission, it gets me so excited that it's my thing. I want you guys to literally visualize that it's already happened. You know what I mean? Like, picture visually your passion and that it's already happened. The more that you covertly rehearse your passion and that it's happened, over and over again, you'll have a natural flow of action. Some people call that an ACT principle. I don't know what the hell to call it, but all I can tell you is that I visualize the success of my family visually. You look where you want to go, not where you're going to make a mistake. I say this all the time, guys. Why is it that the athletes that are the best in the world, the best in the world, they visualize stuff? Paulie will tell you that. They visualize the success of the moment and that it happened. A gymnast pictures the dismount perfectly. They don't think about the miss. Your highest expression, whatever it is, I want you to really visualize it and make it real, make it tangible. Hang up pictures on your wall. I know my wall is kind of weird at home, but I want you to, I seriously want you to consider that. Make it tangible, visual, and the things that your highest expression, I want you to put that visual, like it already happened, and rehearse it over and over again. Because when you're driving a car, you're looking at, when you're turning, you're looking at where you're going, right? You're like, this is where I'm going, this is the direction I'm going. If you're turning the car and start looking at where you're going to crash as a mistake, you're going to freaking crash. It's just a way of thinking. And that's what's gotten us this far.